Well, hey, everybody. Today on First Cup, we've got some quotes about chess. I'm going to talk about how chess and martial arts are related. And I'm going to let you in a little bit on a personal dilemma I'm having on training and what to do about it. Maybe you have some feedback for me. Maybe you have some ideas. Stick around. We'll start the show in 10. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Tuesday. It is August 10th, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. I spilled the coffee just putting the top of the French press in. This part here, this little plunger part, I put that in and didn't like the way I put it in, and coffee went everywhere, and there looks like there's grounds in my cup, and I just want to go back to bed. You ever have those mornings? You say, can I just go back to bed and start the day over? I'm feeling the coffee, and I'm just sad. I'm just having a sad day. It happens. It does. Well, I hope you had a chance to check out yesterday's episode of Martial Arts Radio. Been getting some great feedback on it. Today's a recording day. We've got 2 scheduled. There were going to be 3. Actually, at one point there were going to be 4. But we cut it back to 2. Andrew and I had a production meeting on Thursday. We unpacked everything, planned it all out. That's one of the things that's been really interesting about the show over the years is that the more we plan, the easier it goes. There's a lot of planning. And that's why right now on the back end, I'm doing a lot of generating a pretty complicated tool that will help us plan a variety of things on the marketing side. It's exhausting because I've got to think about so many different things at once. Do you ever have that? It's not physically tiring, but emotionally tiring or mentally tiring. Most of what I do is mentally tiring, and I'm already emotionally tired. Not usually physically tired. Sometimes. I'm kind of tired right now. I didn't get to bed at the time I wanted to. So yesterday, I'll tell you about my day. Yesterday was kind of an interesting day because I had all my Monday meetings. I told you all about those before. Monday morning is all meetings, just all these Zooms. And then I had a in-person client meeting. This client's making a massive transition in the way they handle their business. And so, good morning, Daniel. And so we've been talking about this for probably a year, but it was time to really sit down and start putting some numbers on paper and figuring out what the transition was going to look like. They provide a service, and they're moving from that service being entirely a la carte at an hourly rate to trying to move it into a monthly kind of thing, monthly fee. There's some initial work, and then there's an ongoing fee. And so figuring out what will the market bear, what do you want to do, how much time, etc. And we spent 2 hours kicking this around, the owner and her chief employee and I, and we just, by the time I was done, it was fried. And then it was 4:00. And then I went to a conference that I'd sponsored. I'm not going to throw the person under the bus. I didn't get my money's worth, not even close. Because a lot of decisions were made and mistakes were made. Things were not done that could have been done. But the person who put it on is aware of some of these things. And we'll have a conversation. I'm sure we will come to some resolution. I've been seeing a lot of hate thrown in the direction of the Olympics. If you've been following Olympic martial arts disciplines, you've seen a lot of crap thrown the way of Taekwondo over the years. But now Taekwondo, now karate as a demonstration sport. Seems like half the people who do karate are bad. I don't understand why people can't look at it and say, hey, that's different than what I do. It's not what I want to do, but good on them. Nope. They don't want anybody to have anything nice. We as martial artists, we are such a weird group. We are the most internally divided, angry group. We are the bucket of crabs. If you're new, if you haven't heard me use that analogy, you don't have to put a top on a bucket of crabs. Because the moment one tries to get out, the others will pull back in. That's really a shame. What's going on today? It's recording, and then hopefully I've got a bunch of things that I gotta do. I am not as productive as I should be. Let me rephrase that. That's judgmental. I'm not as productive as I would like to be, as productive as I typically have been. I need a break. And now that the cat has chosen to move on, I can do that. And so I'm looking at that. I've got a few days next month. I'm probably going to need to do something sooner because that's 6 weeks away, and I don't think I'm going to make it 6 weeks. Daniel's in the chat saying, huh? Karate has about 476 different styles. Surely people can say, hey, that's not my karate, but it's cool. You would think so. Now, of course, there's some confirmation bias in this, in that the people who are cool with it aren't the ones getting wrapped around the axle and posting everywhere and blah, 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 getting all cynical. But it's more than a small portion. And Dennis says, Olympic karate was definitely different from what I do, but it was great to finally see it recognized on the world stage. And I think that's the attitude we should have. I was tagged in a Facebook group on the subject of, it was one of the gold medal matches where the gist of it is the person who got knocked out won because the person who knocked him out was called for excessive contact and disqualified. And, I think I was the fourth or fifth commenter, but I've seen that. I'd seen people talk about that all over the place. Here's the gist of it. There were rules set out. You don't have to like them. There were rules. The referees enforced the rules. The participants knew the rules. Participants had been training under the rules. My understanding is the rule set was pretty darn close to World Karate Federation rules. May not be right on that, but I do recall reading that. Whether or not you like the rules is irrelevant. Those were the rules. It would be just the same as me looking at biathlon and saying the caliber air rifle you use is stupid. It should be larger. At that caliber, there isn't enough kickback on the rifle, and it doesn't show true rifle marksmanship. Or, I don't know. Doesn't matter what you like. That's what it was. If you want to start a competing organization, if you want to try to get the rules changed, if you want to do anything that's even mildly productive, you have my support. But to sit and just throw stones at something that you had no input on, no participation in, no financial risk in, no time into at all, I have zero care about your opinion. I'm at that point now. I'm done. I'm really done. And Daniel says, yes, people plus internet equals rage. I wish we could get past this. I don't think we're going to. I think there's just too much anger and people don't know where to put it. So they put it on the internet because it feels like the safest place. I really think that's where it is. I think we are so immensely frustrated as a society. Oh, wow. This is funny. Daniel says, you've been reading the comment section on the shooting, obviously. I've seen people saying that exact thing. I was just guessing. I've literally not read those comments. It would be sad but fun for us to do a troll responses to martial arts we hadn't seen. I think judo is pretty obvious. You know, be a bunch of people saying that wouldn't work on the street. Although what's interesting is from the martial arts community, judo seems to have the most support among its own practitioners. Maybe because the delta, the difference between people who train judo and who compete in judo is very narrow. You know, there are only so many throws. And judo is kind of born out of competition. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Where would we be? Where would martial arts be if we weren't constantly tearing each other apart? What if we could all agree to say, hey, you do what you do, I'm going to do what I do. I support your thing, you support my thing. I'm not going to train your thing, but you go do it over there, I'll do my thing. Instead of burning all this time, what you do is stupid. No, what you do is stupid. I wouldn't, blah, 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 blah. Where would we be? We'd be a lot farther than we are. That's for darn sure. You don't rank in judo without competing. I have heard that. I have heard that. Coffee is cooled off enough. That's good. It makes me sad, you guys. It really does. Every time I see it, and I see it on TikTok, and I see it on YouTube, and I just, you know, we got a comment on a video. You know what? We're at the point where I'm not going to shelter this person. We got a comment on yesterday's YouTube video or yesterday's podcast episode on YouTube, and it was critical of the audio quality. Now, were there some spots? Sure. Absolutely. We're using Zoom. Sometimes somebody's internet connection isn't great. Sometimes that's me. That's why I spend close to $200 to have 2 internet connections here now, because I can. Couldn't do that before. Now that I can, I do. This person who posted that has posted a variety of things over the last few years. Every one of them been horrendously negative. There's no positive contribution to the martial arts out of that person. And they can pound sand. Come through, you consume all the free stuff that we offer. You do not offer anything of benefit, and then you attack. We don't need you. Good morning, Stacy. Been doing a little bit more work on free training day. It's looking great. I hope everybody's got it on their schedule. November 13th. And on top of that, the weekend before, we will have a presence at Rhode Island Comic-Con. We will not be set up there, but we'll come in kind of guerrilla style and just be there hanging out. So make sure you check that out. If anybody watching wants to instruct, shoot me an email, jeremy@whistlekick.com. I got another email, was it over the weekend, from somebody who wants to teach. Less interest on teaching than I expected. At this point, we're not going to have we'll have enough instructors, but I was worried that I would have to turn dozens of people away. Not looking like it's going to happen, so that's great. Okay. All right, let's dig in to the quotes. I didn't see anything from any of you on Facebook. Leaving comments. Daniel just shot me a message in Facebook. He sent me a screenshot of something on Facebook of somebody arguing that the woman who won gold in pistol shooting was shooting wrong. People are ridiculous. All right. So I'm going into YouTube because that's where we got some comments to respond to. Stacy's in for photos and video for free training day. I know you are, Stacy. That you don't have to wonder if I know that one. I definitely know that one. We had, where did I see yesterday? Yesterday was the first day we released on Periscope. I think we had 7 views. So in total, like, the show is growing. So kind of cool. I'm glad. All right. Frank gave us some quotes on chess. So thank you, Frank. Oh, yeah, we'll do this, and then I'll tell you about, if we have time, I'll tell you about my dilemma with training. I am convinced the way one plays chess always reflects the player's personality. If something defines his character, then it will also define his way of playing. But Vladimir Kramnik. You can say that about sparring. Think about the people you know who spar aggressively, like really aggressively. They probably also live aggressively. People who are quiet, reserved. They usually spar quiet, reserved. Now, ultimately, as people get better, you see some changes with that, and it usually comes simultaneously with changes in their personality. This is one of the reasons I love martial arts. As your training changes, so does your person. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I'm going to turn off this banner. You know, I can think back to quite a few people. Their first few classes, you know, they're just, you know, just so tight, so stiff, so angry. And you try to get them to relax, but they can't, because they're not relaxed. They're not relaxed people. They're just them. They're frustrated. They're angry. They're whatever they are. But over time. Here's a question for you, unrelated. Frank and I have been messaging, and obviously one of the things that we're trying to do is grow the show, build the show up. And he sent over a thought yesterday, and I'm curious, those of you watching, how important is the bathrobe? Should it be a t-shirt? Would this be a better thing if the set, my attire, was a little more professional? Now, early on, I thought it was kind of a good gimmick, because who else shows up to a morning show in a bathrobe? But he's got a point. Stacy says, my sparring says, clearly I was a fan of Rock'em Sock'em Robots. I like that. That's good. So for those of you watching, listening, now or later, I would love to hear your feedback on the bathrobe issue. If you want to think about it, let me know. That's cool too. You can post in the comments. You can email me. Either way. Next chess quote. The game of chess is not merely an idle amusement. Several very valuable qualities of the mind, useful in the course of human life, are to be acquired or strengthened by it. Life is a kind of chess in which we have often points to gain and competitors or adversaries to contend with. Benjamin Franklin. I mean, if that's not martial arts, I don't know what it is. Points to gain, adversaries. Useful in the course of human life. It's amazing how we can relate martial arts to just about anything. Gardening, shooting. And Daniel's relating this to the last quote. That's exactly how I spar train perform. Forms, I hear, relax about 20 times the lesson. I live it. My number one suggestion for you, my friend, then would be either some some Tai Chi, whether, a formal class or trying to go the opposite end of the spectrum and just practice your forms with, just gentle, fluid motion. Possibly some yoga, really, really soft yoga. Or, I'm trying to think, is there another way? There are things that I can work with people on, but I've got to be with them. It's not, it involves touch, getting them to relax. Stacy is responding to my question about the bathrobe. Basically, as long as you have something on, I'm good. I'm not here for the fashion. Thank you. I appreciate that. I wonder if Benjamin Franklin would have been a fan of martial arts. He seems like that kind of guy, doesn't he? He seems like the kind of guy who would have, I don't know, I wonder if Benjamin Franklin did any boxing. He seems like the kind of guy who's interested in everything. So I can only imagine. Isn't it weird that he's the only non-president? He's on the $100 bill. This country's weird. We do a lot of weird things. All right. Final quote, and then I will be crowdsourcing some feedback on my martial arts dilemma. As proved by evidence, chess is more lasting in its being and presence than all books and achievements. The only game that belongs the only game that belongs to all people and all ages, of which none knows the divinity that bestowed it on the world, to slay boredom, to sharpen the senses, to exhilarate the spirit. Stefan Zweig. I guess that's true. Do we know where chess originated? Probably have some ideas. But who invented it and how did it spread? Why did chess become so popular when other games didn't? Oh. I find anything pre-internet that became universal to be pretty fascinating. Certain slang words and everything. How did that get from there to there? It's weird. There are certainly some universalities in martial arts. A punch is a punch is a punch. The variations on punches really aren't that significant. Even as someone who's not involved in martial arts to punch, they're going to be pretty darn close to a martial arts punch. There's something about making a fist and putting it out there that we just understand. Wonder how that happens. And I think the biggest correlate in that quote to martial arts is, where does martial arts really come from? We've got all these stories that we've written down that we've told ourselves. Most of them are wrong. In fact, any of them that are old suggest that the arts we practice now are really old, as they are wrong. They can be disproven. Taekwondo is not 500 years old. Kung Fu doesn't come from the Bodhidharma, 1,000 years ago or whatever. I don't know that we'll ever know. That's okay. Doesn't matter. How old your art is irrelevant. It's neat from a historical perspective, but it doesn't make one art more valid than another. We get so bent out of shape about how old something is. Oh, well, my instructor's been training for this long. I don't care. I would rather train with someone who's been training for 5 years and has knowledge that I do not, and they are a wonderful teacher, than someone who's been training for 50 years and knows less and or can't teach as well. My job as a student is to learn. The only things that matter are what I can learn. If you have knowledge and you ever train with someone or take a class, that person was really smart and they sucked at teaching, it's not a teacher I want. It doesn't matter how much they know. How much are they able to teach me? As a student, that's all that matters to me. So here's the dilemma. Pre-COVID, there were 4 schools going I was training in. Obviously all part-time. 2 of them are done. One of them is far away. So it's a periodic thing. It looks like I've got a session set up in a couple weeks. This is my kickboxing. I have to drive over 2 hours to get there. And the remaining one, it's time for a change. It's been a long time. And there's a voice in the back of my head saying, maybe it's time to open a school again. It's been a very long time since I did that. It's been almost 20 years. I don't think I want to do that. The local options to me, for various reasons, aren't quite what I want. No disrespect to the people teaching them. They're just not what I want. What do I want? I want old school traditional karate. It's been a long time since I trained in that way. That's what I want to do again. I miss it. So what do? I remember my original instructors talking about when they moved to Maine, they started a school because they didn't have anybody to train with. So they said, let's teach, get people trained, and then we can train with them. And that's what happened. There are a few times that I wish I lived in a more urban area. This is one of them. I wish I had more options. If you have a thought, let me know. Most of you know how to reach me. Well, you all do. Email, jeremy@whistlekick.com. All right. I got to get to work and record episodes for you. The 2 that we've got on the calendar are both. I'm excited about both of them for different reasons. One, somebody that at least some of you will have known. Somebody who is known for what they have done. The other I'm excited about because this person is excited. And people who are excited to come on the show are generally much better interviews. So, hope you have a good day. I hope you will leave me some comments so I can respond to them tomorrow, because the show is more fun when you comment. Stacy, I agree. Doing that will tie you down to opening my own school. Become the wandering master for a bit, explore. You open a school, you still need an instructor. You're right. And that's kind of where I've been leaning. If you want to support us, hey, I'm using those banners. Patreon.com/whistlekick, or use the code FIRSTCUP15 to get something at whistlekick.com. New stuff going up every few weeks. If you haven't been there in a while, check it out. Okay. Take care, everyone. I will see you back here tomorrow bright and early. Thanks for joining me. Peace.